I've been interested in this idea for a few years. I think ever since the 2006, 2007 debate in Washington when immigration efforts to overhaul the immigration failed. I've been kind of curious about those who returned via deportation, but particularly the young people who were deported. And what happened to them? What happened to their lives? You know, they're talking about hundreds of thousands of people had to return, whether they were deported, their parents were deported, or they felt like they had no other option. And I've just been very curious about what's going on with their lives. And frankly, I think, that much of our coverage here in the States, the coverage of immigration, kind of goes across the country, but it kind of stops at the border. And there's not as much coverage past the border. What happens to them when they're actually in Mexico? And once they cross the border, they're still families. They're still, they're still trying to make a life. And especially in today's debate, there's so much attention placed on the kids, placed on the youth. I think both sides, Democrats and Republicans, seem to agree that the young people, something should be done about the young kids, young teenagers, what some call the dreamers. They've kind of become the face of the immigration movement. During the 2010 debate about the DREAM Act, that failed. But around that time, a lot of young, undocumented immigrants really started stepping out and started saying things like, "This is affecting me. This is impacting me. The decisions you make will have a direct effect on my life, on our life." And until then, it was mostly advocates talking for the immigrants. A lot of the conversation, I like to say, was kind of in the third person. And these young people came out and started talking in the first person. Their futures, in many ways, could be defined by what happens in Washington in these next few months. If Congress passes an immigration overhaul that includes a path to citizenship, and as the Senate has written in their bill, allows some deportees to return, Armando's family could potentially be back in the United States in a couple years. Alejandra, on the other hand, she may be able to come back because some dreamers may be allowed to come back, but she may also be completely out of luck because essentially Alejandra gambled away her future by deciding to return to Mexico. And she actually could have stayed in the country had she not made that decision, because Obama passed an executive order that would have allowed her to stay.